Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Guitar Guts podcast with me, Mark Murray. Today's guest is the great Thomas McRocklin. You could follow him on Instagram at McRocklin. This guy is a shredder. He's just one of the best guitar players I've ever really seen. He's been playing since he's like 4 or 5. He was like a child prodigy when he was young. I think he opened for Ozzy. We talk about all this stuff when he was like 7 years old. He went on tour, I think, with Satriani at 12. He was friends with Steve Vai at 12. And then he took a 20-year hiatus, came back, and now he's back. He's got this new album, New Beginnings, and he's got a whole new style. He's not all shred anymore. He's got like a classy, jazzy kind of blend mixed in. It's really cool. It was so fun talking to the guy. He had his guitar plugged in on the podcast, so he jammed out for us a little bit and showed off some of his Ibanez collection, showed off his Kiesels. He's got a couple sweet Kiesels. Inspired me to do some crazy stuff to one of my guitars, which you guys will see soon. He's got great videos on Instagram. He utilizes a lot of zooming and panning and a lot of really cool techniques. So great sound. I think he's an Axe Effects guy, he was saying. All kinds of plugins, and he's a real gear guy. So check out his Instagram if you don't already follow him. Before we get into the episode, I want to give a shout out to some of my sponsors, including me. The Guitar Guts t-shirts are available now. If you go to guitarguts.com, right at the top of the page, you're going to see a picture of the shirt, and then you can go on there and order them. Very limited quantity, so buy them as soon as you can. It's going to help feed into more equipment, new cameras, new sound equipment, more painting and guitar building tools and all kinds of stuff. So it's just the first way, really, I think, that anybody can support the page. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would go on there, get a t-shirt, buy a couple, maybe give one to one of your buddies, go on in your Instagram and tag me and show me, and I'll repost you guys and hopefully give you guys a little bump, get you some followers. I'm also sponsored by Iron Age Accessories. They've been around with me forever. They're the best. They make kill switches. They make knobs, custom picks. They have like a real high-end classy style to them. That's what I like about them. I use their kill switches for the most part. But I love those guys. If you enter GG-10 at checkout, you get 10% off. So you can either go click the links down below in the description or go to guitarguts.com, and there's a banner right at the top of the page. You'll also see Lundgren Pickups. They're a company that's also been supporting me for a long time. I love those guys. I use their Heaven 77 model humbucker. Amazing pickup. It does EVH tones better than any pickup I've ever heard. I love that thing. I've got one in my red, white, and blue Frankenstrat. I've got one in one of my Wolfgangs, and just great guys, great company. Love them. Lundgren Guitar Pickups. I'd also like to give a shout out to SoCal Pedalboards. Those guys have been amazing to me, giving me a few pedal boards to give away here on the podcast and on my Instagram. I also use them. Great affordable pedal boards. They're handmade here in Southern California. So you're helping out an independent company. I love that. Great guy over there that builds them all, and check them out. SoCal Pedalboards. Really cool, lightweight, compact design. They have holes on the bottom so you could rattle your cables through. Great stuff. Also brought to you by Tesi Switch. So Tesi Switch is another kill switch company that I just recently started talking to. They have some different style kill switches, and I haven't actually tried them yet, but I can look at their products. I've felt them. I have a couple downstairs. They feel great. I can't wait to install a couple of them. They also make pedals. So they have another brand called Gervana. They make all kinds of stomp boxes. You'll see some videos on my page pretty soon at Guitar Guts if you don't follow me already on Instagram. And I'll have some gear reviews for their products. So check out Tesi Switch. I'm also sponsored by the great EMG, so I don't need to say much about them. Go check out EMG. I use the 8160 or the 8181. Great pickups, awesome company. What can I say that hasn't already been said by like the guys in Metallica and Slayer and Zakk Wylde and all the beasts that use EMG. So last but not least, please check out my friends over at Mathas. So Mathas, they make t-shirts, guitars. I don't know if their guitars are on sale yet, but they make them, and they're beautiful, and they make picks. So I recently started using their picks full-time. I used to use Dunlop Tortex Sharps. Never found another pick that I liked at all. I tried a million picks. They either wear down super fast with my playing, or the comfort, they're just not comfortable for me. I like a sharp pick, and they sent me a bunch a while ago, and I said, is there any way you can get these things even sharper? And now they got I think this is an Impaler. I think it's 3 millimeters. This thing's a monster, but I love those guys. So go check out Mathas Guitars too, because they're good guys also. And without any further ado, let's get into the episode with Thomas McRocklin. Hey, how's it going, Thomas?
Hi.
Wow.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Doing good. Doing really good, man. I'm happy to be talking to you.
Likewise. Now, the trick is, well, not trick, the question. I've got a really funky setup. I've got the fractal going in. I've got the mic coming from the webcam, and I'm hearing you from a different audio interface. So, is it all working?
I think it is. I definitely hear the guitar. So I don't. It's not. It's not coming out of speakers, also, right?
Nope, just in the headphones. So we're not gonna get any. And I'm gonna kill my phone because it's already going crazy.
Awesome, man.
Get this muted. I should have done this beforehand.
It's fine. It's a podcast.
Very cool.
Dude,
well, it's like 20 to 10 in the UK.
It's crazy. I'm surprised that you chose to want to do this in the evening.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got 2 girls, you see.
Ah.
And one's out with her mum right now, and the other's in bed, hopefully fast asleep. So evenings work good. It's kind of where I come alive and start mixing and doing everything else, you know. So generally, I'm a night owl.
How old are your girls?
5 and 8.
Wow, they're growing up right before your eyes so quick, I bet.
It's just crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Just all the personalities, all the changes, and you know, they're awesome. They're really good. And for the most, they like music. They like dancing to music. They like, you know, they like listening to shred guitar. That's for sure. But I've tried my guitars, and you might even saw the little kind of dinky guitar. Oh, that's really is that kind of. Let me push that back. I've tried them on all sorts of little guitars, but it doesn't last long.
Okay, because I saw a video of you going wild on a little, I think it was a mini Strat or something, and I was wondering, where did you even get that? Because, yeah, not a lot of people have those hanging around.
Yeah, well, it was actually a gift from Ibanez to my younger brother back in the day. I've had a relationship with Ibanez going back for like many years since I was a kid, and they've kind of, I'll probably grab some of these guitars in a little bit, made some really cool guitars for me over the years, and they made that for his birthday when he was like probably like 12, 13 or something, and so it was his, but it somehow lives here now, and the girls sometimes pick it up and you know, pretend they're little shred monsters, but not that often. Not as often as I would pick the guitar up at that age.
Yeah, dude, I didn't know your history until you just recently posted a video of you on a show back when, I don't even know how old you were. You were tiny. You were tapping and going crazy. You had like a little Ibanez with a awesome, I mean, it was really cool video. Man. Really cool video.
Yeah, thanks. It's really weird. So because of like Instagram, a lot of people know me from what I'm posting now and stuff. And, you know, I make a lot of sort of videos, and I literally like just keep a little camera here, and a lot of the time when I'm noodling, I'm practicing, I'm recording parts for new tracks and stuff. I'll just write, okay, boosh, record a video, and you know, we've got a little bit of content for the day. So I'm, you know, posting quite a lot of videos, and a lot of people just kind of know me from doing that sort of stuff. But separate to that, obviously, I mean, I did have this history that goes back, and not a lot of people kind of know that, but so people sometimes are surprised when they see these throwback videos and stuff, and see shows like probably like The Little Enlarged and various other TV shows that I did in the UK and the US.
Man, so what got you started on guitar at such a young age?
My dad was always interested in guitar, interested enough that he would have a guitar around the house. You know, he liked, you know, Led Zeppelin and Thin Lizzy and, you know, classic rock sort of bands. So when he would go out doing work and stuff and doing his thing, I'd grab his guitar, which would always be left behind the TV out of the way. And it was an old Ibanez artist. So it was like a real, probably like a real hefty chunk of mahogany or something, Les Paul sort of style guitar. But I'd always get it out when he was at work, and kind of, you know, you'd ask my mum, like, why is my guitar out again? And eventually, kind of, sat me down and learned me a couple of chords. I think it was like the chord changes to "The Boys Are Back in Town." I need a little bit more light. Bang. So it was like the chord changes to "The Boys Are Back in Town," and I think every guitar player, they just have that moment where it's like, oh, this is cool. And it was like, I remember even now just getting that down. It was something like, whatever the two chords were, but at the time it hit, and I was like, that sounds like the track. And I was like, that was like when the kind of the beginning of it all, I guess.
How old do you think that was?
Oh, maybe like when I was 4 or 5.
Wow, man, that's awesome. There's not a lot of people who start that young and then keep going with it as long as you have.
Yeah.
It shows in your playing though. It's your playing is crazy clean. It sounds so good.
Oh, thank you. Well, it took a long time off from playing as well. I took like close to 20 years off from playing. So it's like the last couple of years that I've came back to playing again. I played a lot, did a lot of stuff, and had bands with Bad for Good, and just did all the TV stuff and various everything that goes with that lifestyle. And I mean, we'll cover this in whichever way you want in more detail and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I took a long time off from playing, and but the biggest benefit I found to that was being able to just come back with a totally different sound. And I remember the first 3 months, I was like getting the finger strength back and the sort of dexterity and everything. And it was just like, you're just listening for mistakes and, you're just getting that core strength back. And then I kind of sort of heard different things come out my playing. But it was like a great opportunity, taking so much time off from playing, to come back with like, or head towards a certain sound that I really kind of had in mind, So it's kind of, yeah, but the clean stuff, I kind of enjoy that type of playing more than I used to. I never used to play with a clean sound that often, but I still like it.
Your style when you were younger, because I didn't know, like you're saying, I didn't know all your history, and I've since been talking to you. I went on Google and I started to read more about you, and then it's an incredible little history you got there. You ran a guitar shop for a while. I didn't know you took 20 years off. I mean, most people don't even play guitar for 20 years. You had a 20-year break, and you're still like one of the best guitarists in the world. I mean, you gotta be. You're up there, man.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
When you were little, how did you start getting involved in TV production, playing guitar on TV? Like, were you discovered by somebody?
Really, it was down to my dad, really, for first of all spotting the potential in the real early days. And me and my dad, we'd cruise around in his car listening to like Van Halen and Ozzy and stuff, So we were like very much into the same kind of stuff, And really, if you think, I mean, looking back on it all now, it took quite a bit of balls really from to kind of really identify that there's something there, enough to get some local TV around to the house or something, because bear in mind, like back then, like the web wasn't a thing, so it's like you have to pick up the phone and just manually get on the phone to some guys, But I remember it was about when I was 7, Ozzy Osbourne came to my hometown, and I opened up for him, and that was kind of the start of a lot of things, and just having like Ozzy behind me, like, and Zakk Wylde being like 18, 19 or something like that. He looked like so young. There's like 1 or 2 pictures from it, but so yeah, I think my dad just kind of identifying that there's something there, and making some calls, and TV crews start coming around my house, and the next day I'd be talking it with my friends at school, and it was just crazy. And then then it kind of spilled out of my local area in Newcastle, and then I started to go down to London and do kind of more international TV stuff down there, and then that led to getting involved with brands like Ibanez, and then going to the US for things like the NAMM show, and it just spills out from there,
What? So you just kind of ran by that. You opened for Ozzy. How old?
I was like 7 or 8 at that time.
Dude,
yeah,
that's insane. I've never. What is that like? How does that happen?
Yeah. I don't know how. I mean, those situations. I think often it would just be like my dad would take me somewhere because we would want to go see Ozzy anyway. We're like massive fans, and so often it would be like we'd turn up at the back doors of the venue, and my dad with this little kid that was probably, I mean, I was like really short at the time, little dude dressed head to toe in leathers, with like a shred Ibanez kind of gem. It's like it almost like when that situation pops up, it's like you have to bring this kid in, and then next thing you know, Zach's unplugging his guitar and sticking it in my guitar, and let's hear it, buddy. And then you shred, and that's it, But then I did some playing whilst we were sound checking, and they were just all kind of freaking out and laughing and stuff. Like, I don't think they could really believe what was going on. And then got to open up for them. It was just like 20 minutes of just playing and crazy. It was in my hometown, and to do that, it was just like wild. So fun.
How did you get to being so good at like a lead guitar playing at such a young age then? Because there was no tabs online. There wasn't like ways to YouTube videos to watch lessons. How did you learn this stuff?
Just watching David Lee Roth videos and stuff, all the classic metal videos. I mean, anything I could get, like VHS, where there was like David Lee Roth, Ozzy stuff, if I could get anything with Randy Rhoads, anything like that, all the sort of classic, that's about all you could do, and just kind of listen to cassettes and try and emulate and learn stuff. But yeah, you're right. I mean, really different times, you kind of just had to use your ear a lot more. And that's why now it's like sometimes when I post a video, it's like immediately people are like requesting tabs, and it's like, just listen, and it's actually a video, you can see like what's going on. Just give it a shot, and I think using the ears and that is just really important, even now.
Absolutely, it's funny with the requesting of tabs thing is.
It's like automatic.
And the way that you do your videos too, you have your own unique style where you're zooming in real close on the hands, and then it zooms out at the necessary time when you would want to see the other hand, or it'll cut to a different hand.
Yeah.
And your videos show pretty closely what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I must get around to doing tabs. I mean, it's going to happen. There's a lot of things kind of in place for tutorial stuff and tabs and stuff, and as much as it's like you don't want to see like hundreds of requests for tabs, there's still people that would probably benefit from as well. But definitely using the ears. I mean, it's just, if you're a guitar player, I think it's such an important thing to do.
Do you do guitar work? Is that what you do for a living?
No, I mean, lots of things. I do actually run a large music store as well. But when I was away from guitar, production and mastering, that's really something I used to do a lot, So it got to the point where I was like just mastering, hundreds and hundreds of tracks a month, and then taking on mixing projects, which kind of the benefit of just sitting mixing other people's projects for so long was, now that I'm kind of doing my own stuff a lot more, it's like all those things that you learn and the skills of production, you get to have a lot of control, So I was kind of particularly sort of proud when I got to release New Beginnings, which you may have seen this fella here. And apart from a little bit of drum tracking, everything was just mixed right here at home. And if I hadn't done all the sort of production for other bands and stuff all those years, I would definitely have to go to somebody else. And I think it's the type of sound it would be really difficult to even explain. There's just a lot of quirkiness and a lot of sort of things that you don't pick up until like the third or fourth listen, especially on headphones, just kind of subtle things like jumping in and out and stuff. But and there's a lot of electronic influence in New Beginnings as well, because when I was away from the guitar, I was never really even into guitar music at all. I was like the anti-guitar. I was like, don't want to hear anything, don't want to hear chords, lead lines, just electronic stuff, whether it was like drum and bass or house or electro, even like dubstep in later years and stuff, but no guitars for a long time.
I listened to your record a couple times. It's on Spotify for anybody who wants to check it out too.
Ah, cool. Thank you.
And I didn't even know you had albums because your account, you're not whoring yourself out on there. I don't see you posting and being like, guys, go listen to my stuff. Or it seems like you're just having fun with it. Is that pretty much what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's happening very quickly now. Some amazing collabs that's been happening recently. But yeah, I mean, it's probably been since like mid 2017. So like a little over a year and a half or so since, I've been playing again. And then so much has happened in that short period of time, whether it's like all the brands I've signed with, releasing that track, collaborating on another project with what's called McRocklin Hutch, which is more of the kind of 80s throwback synthwave style, and we have an album almost ready to release. And then there's been a couple of sort of master classes happening. That it's just been like a crazy kind of 18 months. But at the same time, I don't kind of probably promote the New Beginnings album as much as I probably should. And I'm definitely going to get back to that. There's just fitting everything in that's the sort of balancing act I'm trying to get right now. And at this very moment, I'm kind of just finishing off the album for McRocklin Hutch, and we've kind of put some tracks out already, and the feedback's been great. There's a lot of people kind of really digging it, and I think the album version of those tracks, it should be a lot of fun. And then I'm definitely going to get back to promoting some of my own stuff again. Well, this is my own, but it's like the sort of more guitar specific oriented stuff.
Well, dude, I can't wait to hear that stuff because, like you were just saying that you have been working with collabs. I saw you were in the Jared Dines collab that has like, I don't know how many people were in that thing, but it was insane shred. Every single person, Angel Vivaldi, like all these monsters.
Yeah.
You like how do you approach something like that? And like, because you don't want to just do the same thing as everyone else, and you probably didn't get to hear anybody else's solo. So like, you have a very unique style, and I don't know if that's maybe because, like you were saying, you took some time off, mixed in other influences, you came back, and you're not full metal. You're not just like grabbing the whammy bar like you were very like I was thinking Steve Vai-ish when you were younger. Like I heard your older album, sure. Even you have like an older album from was it in the 90s?
Yeah, that's right. It's like a collection between like 91 and 95.
And that one, it seems like you're way more like full shred mode rather than being like classy and like you are now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I was this time round coming back to playing, I was almost a little bit afraid of having too much of those kind of Vai influences. Now I don't really care so much because the association is far less. When I was a kid, Steve Vai produced the Bad for Good record for the band that I had. I did the audience's listening music video for Steve Vai, and we've had a great and very close relationship for a long time. But in the early days, that kind of led to a lot of Vai association, and even in the playing, people would see me as the little Steve Vai because the audience is listening. So I was very kind of aware of, like, when I come back to playing this time, that I'd want to have something that was just, I think you're always going to have influences. We all listen to guys and have, childhood heroes, and there's certain sounds that are just, are cool, and you sort of dig it. But I definitely wanted to have something that was just like a little bit more unique, a little bit different. But as far as the Jared Dines video, I mean, it was like, I did leave it till like 2 hours or so before he was doing the very final thing. I didn't want to listen to the backing track at all. So I had the backing track for like 2 days, and I knew what night, was like the deadline. It was like, you've got like probably 5 or 6 takes of this, and I'm very much like, put it on and react to the music, And so, even my wife was like, have you heard the backing track yet? Is it, is it going to be all right to play? And I'm like, no, I've never listened to it yet. And the reason was I literally wanted to press play in Ableton and record the first couple of things that happened, so it was like first or second take. But but yeah, just I like reacting to things. I think sometimes those first couple of takes, you get that something, and I threw a little bit of the new beginners lick in there as a kind of sort of cheeky wink, that some people would have got, but yeah, but fun to do stuff like that, it's these days, I mean, the fact that you can just get like 30 insane guitar players and put something together in that scale and put it out, it's like crazy, but fun. People love it.
And like I was saying, your style is unique, so it stood out in the middle. I don't know, you were kind of towards the middle or end, right? Pretty sure.
That's right. Yeah.
So after watching for like, I think the whole thing is like 12 minutes. I don't remember exactly, but after watching that many guitar players go by, and then your solo still stands out as one of the best ones there, like that's pretty cool. Who are the people that you look at now that you watch their playing and you're like wanting to adopt some of their style, or you really like what they're doing?
Yeah, not so much that I want to adopt, but guys that I really appreciate. I mean, I think Chon, both guys, Mario and both guys are just exceptional players in Chon, and the fact that they have so much so much of it is done clean. It just shows like their skill is just as unreal. So I love their stuff. I really like their songs as well. So Chon is probably one of my favorite guitar sort of bands. I do appreciate guys like Pliny and Aaron Intervals and stuff like that as well, and Jason Richardson. But if I was going to pick like a modern day band with guitar players that I really think they're kind of top of the tree for me, Chon, they're great. Do like Polyphia and stuff like that as well. But yeah, I just like the vibe of the Chon stuff, and the just fact that they have so much of their playing exposed. There's not tons of effects. It's like I was saying, it's kind of a lot of it's really clean, and you have nowhere to hide, and they still make it like absolutely killer. I kind of love that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and the chords they use too. They're all over the place with they're awesome.
Yeah.
I actually had the honor of talking to Mario like 2 or 3, probably like 4 years ago on one of my podcasts. And
cool.
He was totally downplaying their style because to him, he wasn't like, he didn't think he was like the shit. He thought he was just kind of like, trying and he's doing his best. And I was like, dude, you're unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then I found out I think he started playing just like 10 years ago or something like that. I'm like, dude, you're already that good? That's crazy.
It's normally the case, yeah. The guys are just head down, whatever.
Yeah.
the silent killers.
I think I can't remember for sure, but I think he did took some lessons. So, if I'm remembering right, he told his teacher that he wants to play crazy stuff. Like he didn't start out with like basic stuff. He started out top of the heap, and then that put in my head, for anybody new who wants to play, they should start trying to play what they want instead of like trying to build. Like if you start at the top of the mountain, you can only go up from there.
Yeah, well, yeah. Why not? It's just like you could practice C major scales for 6 months or really smash into something that's like really adventurous and challenging. Yeah, that's probably not a bad way of doing it. It'll certainly, I imagine, would help with the progression to go very, very quick. Yeah. I think it just needs to be like mentally strong, because for a lot of people, and doing that, I imagine it would just be sort of daunting, and it would potentially kind of put them off and hit their confidence. That would be so far away. But if you're strong-minded and you kind of, you've got that willpower, it's kind of going back to when I was playing. I mean, I would play for like 10 hours a day, no problem, as a kid, easily, every day. No, there was no distractions, so it's like tablets and PlayStations, Xboxes, there was just none of that. I remember when the NES came out, though, I did get hooked on Mario.
Oh, no way.
I've always had this kind of thing with video games on and off, I do have a really addictive personality, so it's like when it's focused on something, it's like there's nothing else. It's like if it's guitars, it's really guitars, there's just no distractions, and a couple of times that's turned to things like playing video games and stuff, and the early days it was like Mario, but in kind of later years it turned into like first person shoot 'em ups like Counter-Strike, for example.
Love
And
Counter Strike. I used to play Mario. I played the early Zeldas over on the old NES. I played Counter Strike was my like game for a long time. Very
yeah,
fun,
man,
very addictive.
1.3 days. Yeah, and I got to the point, this addictive personality kicking in. I was like an Intel sponsored clan, and it was just, it took over everything. It'd be like gaming for like hours and hours a day, and then still trying to mix other people's stuff and not playing guitar. So, but now I have Steam runs, but I literally haven't loaded any of the games. Like it's mostly these days Global Offensive, Counter Strike. I would play it if I was going to play it, but I ain't going to touch it.
See, I'm a bit of a nerd, so I got into Magic: The Gathering a while ago. You know Magic, the card game, and they
Right.
make an online version on Steam also. So I got it on my computer, and there would be days where I'd play 5 or 6 hours straight. And then I
Yeah,
decided when I got my new computer, I'm like, I'm just not going to put it on there because I'm wasting my, half of my day sometimes.
it's
Recently, I
difficult.
got
Yeah,
bored and I put it back on my laptop, and the next day I played 6 hours straight. And the following day, I was like, all right, it's got to go. Gone. When you were
yeah.
coming up, it's real funny. Bad for Good, you were in as like a hair metal style band, I guess, that Steve Vai had. This is what I read, that had found you guys and put you together. Is that true?
How the whole thing came about. I originally signed with Interscope Records early '90s. Via I think a guy called John McClain, who was one of the A&R guys at the time, spotted at the NAMM show playing at one of the booths, and that led to the Interscope deal. And the band gradually kind of formed over a number of months. At one of the NAMM shows, watching me play was Brooks Wackerman, and my dad spotted that he was wearing a Led Zeppelin T-shirt, and he got talking to Brooks, and found out that he's a drummer. And Brooks had mentioned, he wants to play with me. So it was like instantly, as soon as we seen the story and stuff, like that was it. The drummer was found, And whilst I was kind of in LA, my dad would just walk a lot, the old sort of music institutes and GITs and stuff. And I'm pretty sure he saw Zach Young's like flyer on the board at like GIT, and he gave him a ring and give him a call, and then we basically discovered Zach, So my dad had found Brooks and Brooks and Zach, and then somebody at the record label discovered Danny Cooksey whilst I was back in the UK. And I remember it was like we had a fax sent over. It's like, hey, this is the singer, black and white. It was like, it just didn't really give much away, In fact, I signed the Interscope record deal by this big, huge fax, it was just like ridiculous. And then went back to BMXing. But yeah, that was it. So at that point, I had the sort of Interscope deal. We had the band like ready, and then I had some tracks, and Steve got involved with Interscope and came on board to like produce the band and stuff and mentor the band. And then I had some cassettes to learn Steve's kind of ideas for tracks. I sent over my ideas for those tracks like Curious Intentions and Tire Kicking and parts of the tracks I had written. And I went and lived with Steve for another 6 months or so whilst we rehearsed and tracked the album at the mothership, and a lot of fun.
Wow, man, that must have been insane.
It was. Yes, and yeah, totally, it is. There's no question that the whole thing, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, definitely is. But at that time, Steve had just become like, a kind of a good buddy and a close, friend, and we'd have pizza, we'd go to movies, we'd just hang out. I'd be, the LA riots happened whilst I was, tracking guitars, So my dad was like on the other side of LA. The LA riots was like right there, and we were at Steve, so I was like stuck there for like a number of, probably like a week or so. But it was just the normal thing, But yeah, totally. When you kind of look back on it all, absolutely insane.
That's funny. The LA riots happened like 20 or like 10 miles from where I am right now. I'm in Simi Valley, which is where the
Okay.
court case happened. So everybody in Simi got scared that the riots were going to come over the hill because LA is like 10, 15 miles from here or whatever. But so this is all early 90s you're doing this stuff. Wow.
Yeah.
And then when was your hiatus from guitar? About when? Because I guess you were like 16 then or something, or 18 or
no. Back then, I mean, when I tracked the Bad for Good record, I was like 12, and we were, and we were touring it with Joe Satriani when I was like 12, 13 or so. You know, we were on the road with Satriani for like a few months from like Canada to New York, and that was great. But during that whole period, when I was living with Steve and I got to go on some really cool sessions with guys like Jimmy Iovine and stuff, and some amazing producers, and be around a lot of studios. And that side of things really caught my imagination really early on. And I remember, like Steve, I'd be always asking him questions about the mixing desk, the outboard gear. I was like, and he explained the bus system on his console and a lot about the sort of recording process. I was really, even at a young age, kind of really interested in that side of things. And eventually, after I did the Satriani tour and everything else, I came back to the UK. And at this point, I was just really into rap, hip hop and rap. That was it. Anything that was like on Death Row Records and the Tupac stuff. That was all I was listening. So listening to that kind of music and then getting my first sampler and then sequencer. All of a sudden, the guitar, I mean, I'm like maybe 15 or so at this time. And I'm still playing, guitar. And I had a UK band and I was working on the 91 and 95 and I toured that a little bit in the UK. But behind all that, the guitar was like not something I was really mad in love with like I was previously. And really it became about the sampler and the sequencer and electronic music. And at that point in my life, I was really into drum and bass and hip hop. So I made a lot of like drum and bass tracks and I was really just getting more and more into gear, until eventually I had like two 30-odd U rack units and 32 8-bus console and just tons of gear. And that was like probably the most fun you could probably have. Now it's amazing mixing in the box predominantly because the power is just unreal. And I use like a lot of the Universal Audio stuff, so some of these tracks I mix, it might have like 200 plugins running. But back then, when I'm like 15, 16, or 17, with a 32 8-bus and patching stuff all over the place, and it's messy and there's cables, it's so like intuitive and fun. So that's probably some of the most kind of fun I ever had, kind of mixing and doing tracks and discovering things for the first time and stuff. But yeah, so that kind of really was all killing the guitar off, if you like, and it got to the point where I'd play like 10 or 15 minutes maximum in 3 months, so really little enough to have very little core hand strength, dexterity. You're always going to pick the guitar up and be able to play when you played 10 hours a day as a kid for many, many years. But when you pick that guitar up, it feels like you're playing with feels like you're playing like that. It's just so awful. And I think for a lot of years, knowing my hand had gone down to that level, you kind of know it's going to be a real uphill battle to get your hands where you want them to be. That obsessive personality, you're never really happy. Even now, I'm like, I know that I need to improve this. I want to improve this. I want to get better at this. But when you've taken so long away from guitar, you kind of, it's going to be a 6-month hard ass time to kind of get everything back to the level that you want them to be. So I think that put me off for a little while. And then eventually I just posted a random noodling video and the reaction was like, oh, pretty good. People liked it. And then that was like encouraging. And then start Instagram account, and that was it. It was like obsession back on guitar time again.
Your sound and your videos are like very cool. You don't just like put your phone out and just record some video in a dimly lit room. You have good lighting. You have great audio. You always have cool, like I was saying earlier, editing. It cuts in and out. Multiple camera angles. Zooms and what inspired that? Where did you get that influence from?
Well, I was really bad at video editing, and it was just like, this was about a year ago. So if you look back to like the early, the YouTube videos that I did, like the audio was really bad and the editing wasn't so good. But I kind of wanted to get better at it. But really, I think it came from, I now in my spare time when I'm not, making new tracks and working on stuff, as a platform, Instagram is like, my kind of preferred platform. So I think the difference is a lot of stuff I make specifically for Instagram. I will do a sort of more in-depth stuff this year for sure on YouTube, and I'll try and grow that side of things. But really, Instagram it's all about short and sweet and to the point licks, and it's like it perfectly works for me because a lot of those videos are done relatively quickly, like in the middle of doing other stuff, and I'll grab my camera and bang. Ooh. Bang, got a kind of lick, little chord, it's so quick. But at the same time, I saw a lot of people, and the like you're saying, the dim lit stuff, the audio wasn't direct, and even though people might be looking at that video for like 5 or 6 seconds, I wanted to give them the best possible sound, a fun, memorable 5 or 6 second package that they would go back to, so that was I think it's just, again, if you're doing something, whether it's playing or a record or making a 10-second Instagram video, I want to kind of do as best as I possibly can. I think just for the viewer, having direct audio and a video that looks quite fun, it's definitely more enjoyable for them.
You don't play many covers ever on your Instagram, do you?
No. Not a lot. I never really, I mean, I had like a handful of, like Crazy Train and Ain't Talking About Love and, all these kind of go-to tracks as a kid I would probably chuck in and stuff. Especially when it was like, just me playing, a lot of the early day stuff, the Ozzy support and NAMM performances and all these kind of different gigs and stuff. It was literally just me playing for like 20 minutes, half an hour. So there's only so long you can probably just wail and wail and wail before you have to put something that's like recognizable. But no, it's just, I don't know. I've never really been one for like doing covers and stuff. And yeah, so I throw the odd little bit in here and there, but it's very rarely, very rare. And yeah, don't often take requests for covers. Not because of being a douchebag or anything. Probably couldn't even play those tracks anyway. I'd have to like sit down and learn them. But learning full songs was never something I'd like. Dude, I'd appreciate them and have loads and loads of favorite tracks, but I'd never like want to sit down and learn them all.
That's interesting. Did you ever take any lessons?
I did, yeah, mostly classical. When I was maybe like 10 to 12 or 9 till 12. Classical was something that was kind of a big part of my life. And I went through some grades and exams and stuff with it. But the thing that I learned mostly about that was the theory. And that's kind of stuck with me, forever, really. All the scales and kind of 3-octave stuff and just down to the discipline of just like, the way you'd hold the guitar and stuff, that really, I think, set me up for good form for a long time. And separate to the classical side of things, I had like some theory lessons with a guy called Bill Brennan. He's kind of a guitar player from my, northeastern localish area. Doesn't play high gain, doesn't do anything. He's kind of really flamenco, clean, and rockabilly is his thing. But amazing theory, you could just sit down and talk chords for days. And the only book I ever had like beside my bed and around the studio is like the old Ted Green chord chemistry, and in this case modern chord progressions. I don't know why that's still there, but it's just like it is there. But I actually got to spend some time with Ted Green when I was in LA, and only a couple of like 3 or 4 lessons or so, and that was just an amazing experience as well, because like my reading material for a kid at bedtime was like Ted Green's chord books. It was just like, whoa, look at that shape. That's and you kind of imagine the sound in your head, and oh yeah. I'm kind of really weird because it just feels so weird having like this cable around my back, so everything kind of. So yeah, reading Ted Green books all the time. So getting just to sit down in his apartment, and it was just like covered in books, and it was just like quietly sit on the floor, and he'd ask me to play from, and we just had this like short 20-minute sessions, but they were amazing. So it was always lessons like that, and those are the lessons I would probably take the most from as well. I never really had electric guitar playing lessons or shred type of lessons or anything like that. That was all just kind of self-taught, and just try and imitate what I heard on tracks and stuff that I liked.
I want to ask you about Satriani and Vi. When you were hanging out with them, all that, do you still keep in contact with them?
Not so much Joe. We were kind of like pals, friends on tour and stuff. We talk a lot, but for a long time I didn't speak to Steve because when I came back to the UK, it's not like now where you save somebody's number, you have the number. So we kind of had no contact, And when I decided like, okay, I'm out of the music business, the guitar specific scene, it was at a time where it was really easy to just disappear and you're gone. Now it's obviously it's much harder to just disappear like that. So I had like no contacts in the music industry at all. It was just like no numbers, it was just nothing. So Steve came to my hometown and played a show like 2 years ago, and I managed to get in contact. And so since about 2 years or so ago, we've been back in contact, and we speak to each other fairly often now.
I would love to see you on G3.
That would be good. That'd
be fun. That would be incredible.
That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, you need to make it happen, Mark.
Do you have like goals or things out there like that you have on your almost like a bucket list or something that you hope to achieve?
I should. Yeah, definitely. No, there's a lot of stuff that I want to do, and I think it's literally been like a year and a half since I've been and coming up to 2 years since I've been playing again, and there's a lot that's happened, and there's a lot of that I'm working on now and need to get done and out, and hopefully new opportunities will continue to come my way as well. But yeah, I mean, just playing live with that kind of caliber of guy, whether it's Joe or Steve or other guys of that level, that definitely would be that would be a good moment. It'd be fun.
I would love to see that happen. Would you want to be in a band, or would you rather be a solo artist cruising around? What sounds good to you?
No, I think if the right band situation come up, I would for sure be into it. Because as you might have saw, I mean, I really don't like to ram solo licks down people's throat for 5-minute sort of tracks. I have kind of moments and I'll just blaze it out, but I like to keep it about the groove and the track, and so I think that would work probably really well in a band situation. So if the right band came along and they wanted to bring me in, I'd very much probably be interested in exploring those possibilities.
Well, I got to imagine tons of people have been hitting you up already, so you probably have your pick of a lot of bands if you wanted to join one.
Not so much bands, but yeah, there's been some great opportunities come up, and some really cool collabs and stuff, you know, especially with the electronic genre. You know, I recently did the Gunship solo for a track, and Gunship have been one of my favorite electronic bands for a while now. So getting to just have like big pockets of solo all over a track, and it's a great sounding track. That was really cool, and that track just came out like a couple of weeks back or so. And there's another very cool artist that I'm working with as well, which is another favorite, called Collabs, and it's really great sort of vibes and stuff. What I particularly like about the synthwave and sort of 80s sort of genres of electronic stuff is it suits a lot of what I do as well, because you know we kind of grew up through the 80s and 90s, so this kind of music is just particularly well suited to some of the stuff that I play now. So it's a lot of fun to kind of shred over that type of stuff as well. But yeah, I'd be up for all kinds of things, kind of into the more heavy stuff and metal stuff, you know, and yeah, all kinds of stuff. Gain. Does that work all right? Is that coming through?
You know, can you turn it up? Because I could hear your strings, and I could hear the axe, or is that an axe effects? I could hear it in the background, but I could hear it through the mic. There we go. There we
go. It works?
It works.
It's working?
You got the octave on, right?
That's right. I love the octave. It's one of my favorites, you know, that and crystally sort of sounds. They're probably my two fun sort of sounds to play with.
I love your video. You compared the $20 reverb to the $2,000 unit.
Yeah. That was fun.
That was fun reading the comments. Everybody's so pissed off that you had a $2,000 access to. Is it yours? Is that your reverb?
Yes. I mean, it was run through a nice, I think it was like PCM series lexicon. How do you get a $20 reverb? It's actually, you know, it was a simulated reverb, you know, using a simulation of like a $39 hardware. It's basically, it was a simulation of a cheap guitar stomp box reverb. So that was like the comparison. It's always difficult to do genuine. I mean, it's not, you know, a 30-minute scientific YouTube video where we go, right, this is this, and we record it 2496 and stuff. It's literally an A/B, and I think, you know, people are going to be looking at it, listen to it in mono on a mobile. So it was just more a bit of fun than anything. But yes, I mean, I have some nice hardware. I actually sold a lot of it off because I have moved to mixing mostly in the box now with UAD. I've got a little Apollo audio interface. I had the rack Apollo, but I was like literally using one input. So now I've got the Apollo Twin and some UAD octo-core DSPs, a bunch of their plugins, and everything's pretty much done with, you know, recently been working with Eventide, use their plugins a lot now. They're really cool. FabFilter, Sound Toys, and guys like that, but most of it is UAD stuff. And they have amazing replicas of some real high-end reverbs, like Lexicon 224s and 480s and EMT stuff. So that's always good for a comparison.
Yeah, that's your clean tones. You even start, I think that your album New Beginnings starts out with some type of delay riff that's like clean and sparkly, and yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, that's a track I can't really play a lot. Yeah, because it's C standard or C sharp standard or something like that. So all my guitars are like 440, just regular tuned, you know. So I can always just play the opening chords. Not that. Yeah, that's it. I literally never play that track because because of the tuning. But yeah, the split sounds in the Fishman pickups are a big help for me getting those really kind of jangly sounds, you know. So like that split sound. It's just such a good split sound. So I love the Fishman pickups, and I actually I had some pickups from those guys for a long time, just sat on my shelf, and kind of didn't really want to hack into some of the guitars. Not that I mind like hacking guitars, you know, because a lot of the guitars I have are like they're very well worn, and you know, but it's literally, if you have like an Ibanez RG and you want to put Fishmans in it, you want to put the battery compartment, you're gonna have to have some woodwork done. But once I did do that comparison, I got one of my RGs at the time when I first started using Fishman. It just like there was something about the clarity and the detail, even with gain stuff. I was like, oh, that just works for me. And especially, I play a little bit less with high gain stuff, so it's like kind of low to mid amount of gain that I often use. And the detail you get with the Fishman Fluence pickups is like bang, it's really good. So, but the split tones that you hear in a lot of the clean Instagram videos, it's very much down to like, you know, obviously use Axe effects. But the Fishman pickups help a lot for that type of sparkly, jangly sound.
What were you using before you started using Fishman?
I'd used Damasio's for like forever, really, and I'd just replace the bridge pickup traditionally with like a tone zone, and everything else was just stock paths, you know. I had a couple of funky sort of pickups that I like had a Damasio endorsement when I was a kid, and back then they would just give you like this graph of paper. It was like 3 sheets, and you go, right, I want mid-range and high gain and this kind of sound. It was just like dots, you know. It was like, and you'd hand it to them and they'd interpretate that and make a pickup. It was like weird. So but ultimately, yeah, I just went back to using like tone zones, probably because when I was a kid I just put max on everything and made it sound horrible, you know. But tone zone always worked, so I was like, you know, it's worked forever, why change it? But then I heard the Fluent stuff for the first time. I was like, okay, gotta make the switch.
When you came back to guitar a couple years ago and you saw Kiesels, was that the first time you saw Kiesel, or were you kind of still watching the industry when you were not playing so much?
I saw Kiesel mostly on Instagram, actually. And when I first, you know, I'm still totally fine with the Ibanez guys and stuff, and we've got a good relationship. But yeah, I saw a lot of the Kiesel guitars, and of course, when you look through their Instagram account, it's like every picture of the guitars they post is just, for me anyway, it's like, whoa. It's just like mind-blowing stuff, you know. It just looks so good. But I never really got the opportunity to try them because they're like a US-based guys, and back in the day, the Carvin stuff, I wasn't really interested in. And then this is probably like, oh man, it's like 7 or 8 months ago, or maybe it's longer now. But just on Instagram, somebody tagged me in one of Kiesel or Jeff Kiesel's comments or posts, and then Jeff sent me a message. Do you want to try one of these guitars? We'd like to have you on board. And I remember like trying headless specifically. I tried like a few different headless guitars, and I really liked the way they felt, and the balance was really cool. I liked the body size, you know, they just feel almost like an extension. And I kind of knew that although the Ibanez necks felt very much at home because I'd played that, and I was like battling the shape of an RG quite a lot, you know. So I had, you know, this kind of thing where it was just it was great to play. The sounds were there, but it just didn't feel like an extension, you know. And then Jeff sent the Osiris over, this guy, and normally I'm like, I pick up new guitars and I know like really quickly that that's for me or I don't like it, you know. And immediately I was like, it was just one of the best guitars that I've ever played, ever. and it had that feel thing, you know, the smaller body and everything was just like so good, and the access and just everything about it was just amazing. And I felt at that time if I didn't make the move to playing Kiesel, you know, headless guitars full time, I'd probably kick myself. And I've been super happy. They're a great bunch of guys, and I've stuck with the 2 bills that I've got for now, as I didn't want to like jump into going nuts and just have like more bills coming. But I've got some more ideas now, and I think there's going to be, you know, after NAMM, some more guitars headed over, and I think that'll be really cool. Going to get like a neck through and stuff for the first time I've ever had a neck through and not a bolt-on guitar, so kind of looking forward to that as well. Wow. But yeah, amazing guitars.
Yeah, I've had the honor of trying one before, and it, like you said, they're really clean and pieces of art too. Like they make the best looking guitars. They get the best quality wood. The finishes are insane. They're cool. They're so unique.
Yeah, I think they do. You know, they care a lot about. You know, I had a loaner, which was probably just from their showroom. This very guitar, because it was like, it had a lot of stuff that needed Jeff himself to do. It took a while to come through. So in the meantime, they shipped this other guitar as a loaner from their sort of showroom, and it was just like the most basic entry-level spec you could order. But even that felt like great, you know. It was just like, it was another headless guitar, had the trem, and you kind of got, this probably would have been on their site for like $1,200-$1,300, and I don't know any other brand that would make a guitar that's like custom built in the US for that sort of price, that out of the box played and felt as good as that. But then obviously when you start getting into like different tops, multi-piece necks, and then it just kind of goes from like great to like just insane, you know. This guitar is unreal. I love it.
Is that your favorite guitar that you own?
It is, yeah. I mean, you know, people are like, you know, you've got so many guitars, how come we don't see you playing with them all, you know? And I'm really hyper focused on what I play. I don't like changing it up a lot, you know. In terms of like this neck shape now, I'm really comfortable moving around and I like it. And I don't like going to like different radiuses and stuff. It's not that it's going to cause a problem. I like it. That's kind of what I play, and you know. So I post the occasional Ibanez, an acoustic video and stuff, you know, because there is a large collection of them. But yeah, this is my go-to for everything, and it's so versatile. It's a light piece of ash. It's like super comfy to play. It's really cool.
Okay, so it's ash body, and then what is that, like burl on top?
Poplar burl top, yeah. So we've got it's a lightweight piece of ash. They weighed a bunch out and gave me some nice options, which was really cool because the Osiris is like amazing, but it feels a little bit more like a traditional weight, you know, of like a headed guitar. So this one, you know, it's like when it's on a strap or you're sitting down tracking guitars, it's really comfortable. So it's swamp ash body, poplar burl top. This is a raw tone finish with a purple Cali burst on it. Hip shot trem. I don't always leave the trem in because I don't always use the trem. If I'm using the trem, like a lot of the time, it's like for like accents and stuff. You know, it's really like bangs, and it's really subtle sort of stuff, you know. I haven't played much in the last couple of days. It's like, although I play a lot recently, I've been mixing like crazy the new McRocklin Hutch stuff. So it's like everything is like keyboard mouse. So it's like I'm dying to like get like into like playing for like 2-3 hours and stuff in a row. But yeah, it's the Trem 5-way super switch. I hate 3-ways because you might have saw a lot of videos I switch a lot, you know, between splits and neck. So it's a 5-way super switch, push pull to go to the other profile. I never use the other profile, and that is it. 5-piece Purple Heart. It's a walnut neck. Never tried walnut, and I didn't really at first. I wasn't quite sure. I was like, oh, I want rosewood. I want maple. And then because it feels like super soft and smooth, but then now the next guitar I'm definitely getting walnuts. It's like it's taken over. I really like it. But very cool top, and the neck is basically what's called a KTB. I don't know if you can probably see it that much, but it fades from black up to purple.
Oh wow!
So yeah, so it's like it's maple, but then it just changes color as it hits the body. You know, you see it more in pictures and stuff, but that's really cool. So that was why it's another little dark bit of humor in a recent Instagram video, because it was like it was the video I did, which was like dark neck versus light neck, and they're both maple necks, but this one's just stained. So it was like I was just interested in seeing what people would say, and it's like a lot of people, you know, they know the Kiesels or like KTB, you know, they know what this guitar is, but a lot of guys are like, definitely prefer the darker one. It sounds more like this, you know. And it's funny because both guitars sound very similar because they're both Swamp Ash bodies. This one sounds a little bit brighter, actually, but it's very, very subtle.
I've been noticing a trend in the last couple years with guitars that purple and green seem to be like the hottest colors, and in the early 2000s and in the 90s, nobody was playing purple guitars, and all of a sudden, purples are like the coolest looking guitars out there. You got one right there. Have you had other purple guitars before this?
I've never had a purple guitar ever, but I did spec this color. I was like, oh, I want a purple guitar. You're right. So I've probably got caught into the same trap.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are.
Yeah, I'm going red for the next build, and I've got a Zeus acoustic kind of going to be put into the works very soon as well. I'm thinking maybe like some kind of white vibe, you know. Never had a white guitar, so.
Oh, you gotta get one.
Exactly.
How many guitars do you have right now?
I mean, not like hundreds, maybe like 30 or so. I mean, the guitars that I have, they all tell a story, you know. And I mean, I can grab some of them, you know, if you want to see some.
Yeah, I'd love to see a few of them. I'm a super guitar nerd, and I have like 40 something guitars. So like I've been playing 20 something years. Each one, you know, has a story. This one was the one I got when I was 16. This one, it was my friend's guitar. I always wanted it. Then I bought it off him when he quit, because everybody quits when you're 16 years old.
Yeah. This is the McRocklin gem. This was like maybe when I was 11 or 12, a birthday gift from Ibanez. And obviously they did like a custom paint job on there. It's actually a floral gem at heart. Like a lot of the modded guitars that I have from Ibanez are basically an original floral, and they paint over them. So those early florals always sounded great. And, you know, I know Steve found them even to date to be some of the best sounding florals, best sounding gems rather. So a really cool guitar. It's actually really light, and it has right now the thinnest wizard neck I've ever had. I don't think this was the original neck, because I used to break necks a lot, and now I'm really good. Now I don't break any necks, and I don't throw guitars around that much, not at all. But yeah, a lot of the guitars have had various necks and stuff by Ibanez, but this is just a really cool guitar. It's always had a nice sound and stuff, and obviously just uses the original edge. Yeah, a very, very cool guitar.
When you say that you used to break necks a lot, would you do this on purpose, or are you just careless and you'd leave them around? How's that happen?
Mostly having fun, being crazy, being silly, being a young kid. And you know, I think Steve, when I was breaking the most necks, it was often Steve I was very encouraging. He liked the fun, and I like to break things. And you know, guitars, you know, we'd be throwing them around the neck, and you know, the strap locks would come off, and one would get stuck in the bathroom wall. There'd be a barrel of laughs, you know. But bear in mind, like me and Steve, like when we were living together, the LA custom shop was like 20 minutes, a half an hour, and Steve has always been one of Ibanez's biggest artists. So getting replacement parts and necks was just like, we need a new neck. You know, these days, I mean, it's really difficult to get those early full pocket sort of necks, and I'll show you one here now. This is another gift from Ibanez at some point. This is the Slam Gem. It is also a floral gem, I believe, at heart, but it's been shaven down. So it looks like it's like 3/4 size, but it's literally the guy, the legendary builder Mace. He would just literally shave it down, so it was like a bit more of a petite size.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so it basically has like the Ultimate Warrior and stuff up there. Some of my favorite video games like Mario and Steve Vai's in the audience, and Simpsons are down there. And the back was like Mega Man inspired. The original backplate is missing, unfortunately. But this guitar had been through a lot of different necks until like a little while back, where I took it to the Ibanez LA custom shop, and it needed a lot of work. It needed like whole new switches. The electronics were all screwed, and needed a new trem. It needed everything, really. It was just literally a body. But it took a while, like over a year or so, to find this neck, you know. And the reason is just these original pockets. These necks are really difficult to find, so you know, so definitely don't be smashing these things now. But this is actually a great neck. It was from like a 95, 96, like a brand new box RG, and I think it was like found in Japan or something, and they flew it to the LA custom shop and took the neck off on it and finished it off with this one. And really cool guitar. It's actually probably prefer this gem. It wasn't like my favorite gem when I was a kid, but because I play headless, which is like smaller bodies, this is probably one of my favorite gems to like play if I pick up a gem now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
You know, this is you're inspiring me. I don't know if you've seen my page, but I paint guitars, I modify, I love working on guitars. And between you talking about the Kiesel not getting in your way, the way you're playing it, and you said RGs can sometimes get in the way. I know what you mean, because I play Jacksons and like standard model shape guitars like that. And while you were talking about the Kiesel, I was thinking, oh, I could take one of my Jacksons and sand the top horn a little bit more like your Kiesel, or like cut it with the bandsaw and then sand
the bevels that they do are insane.
And
it's funny because
that's like kind of the same idea, like, you know, shaving it down, make it compact.
Yeah, well, that's what they did with this one, and it was weird because a lot of guys at the LA custom shop now, when they saw this guitar a while back, they're like, "What is it? You know, how did they make it?" And then they sort of eventually figured out that it was just an original gem, but Mace had just kind of shaving it all down. But yeah,
really unique. So you didn't notice a big difference, or did you? You never had it before it was shaved down, right?
No, it was handed over as this floral, I think it had like a silvery floral Tree of Life neck on it. I don't know, but no, it always been slightly smaller.
Okay, man, that's really cool.
Thank you. It's it's fun. I mean, there's a lot of gems in the rack. There's like 2 or 3 more, but I'll show you this one, because this one has a lot of stories behind it. I mean, you can see it's probably the guitar that I played the most as a kid. You know, it was actually the first gem that I got. You know, and I remember at the time I was like into Steve Vai a lot, and you couldn't go anywhere in the UK even and just buy like a gem. So we got this sent over by my dad. Fortunately, purchased it from the US and got it shipped over. So it was a big deal, you know, at the time. And I remember just opening up the case and seeing the floral gem for like the first time. It was just like, oh. And, you know, that new guitar smell, you know, I kind of still remember, you know, very vividly opening the case to this guitar for the first time. It looks a lot different to then. So I think also it has had some different necks on it, but fortunately it is an original Tree of Life gem neck. But yeah, there's just been a lot of tape and bangs and people signing it and putting messages on it. A lot of the tape that you're seeing on this is just actually from, you know, for example, the Mothership when you would have like recorded Passion and Warfare and hang the tape strips from the console. That's all this. So it's like tape strips from Steve's studio. So it's just not just like random tape, you know, it's like all the cool, you know, whatever is tracking, kick, snare, and all that stuff. It's all kind of wrapped around this guitar. So even like the sort of tape stuff, is like a lot of it has like, you know, pretty cool history behind it. But one time I was on tour with Bad for Good, and this guitar was supposed to fly out and meet me at the next show. For some reason, it just got lost in transit. I was delayed. And it turns out Steve could get me his floral gem to the show quicker. So he very kindly, you know, sent his floral gem. And, you know, I was, you know, pretty wild back then. And for some reason, I don't know why, I cut down the handle from Steve's gem. And I took other bits off it as well. But, you know, I really hacked into it and took bits out of it. And it turns out that was his favorite guitar.
Oh.
And mine did arrive back at Steve's house. And then he, you know, so you can see like he took a bit of revenge. There's hacksaw marks right there. He's hacked into it there. And the reason this is off is because he hacked that off. So
wow.
he got his revenge. We're fine.
I was
There's no
looking at
hard
that. I was
feelings.
like, what happened to this thing?
Yeah, Steve did that. So,
Oh,
but
man.
fortunately, he didn't cut the horns off and the neck off. But you know, it plays great. It's probably overall tonally one of the best sounded gems that I've ever heard. It's just so well balanced. Obviously, tone zone. These are like original Paths and Path single coils. But yeah, super cool guitar.
Wow. I mean, that's better than having his signature on there. That's insane. He cut into it with a saw?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. That's yeah. I wouldn't like him to see him cut into the keysels, mind you, but yeah, but it's got a lot of history. It sounds great, and it's good to have these kind of legacy guitars in full working order. I mean, Ibanez was super cool when I returned to playing guitar, and a lot of them needed like new trems and all sorts of hardware, and they were like right there, no questions. Amazingly supportive in the US and the UK. So Ibanez are a great bunch of guys. Pop that one back.
Wow, that's incredible. How often do you practice these days? Do you still practice for hours a day? I know you said you haven't been playing a lot these last couple of days, but do you have like a
Yeah.
regimented, got to be this amount of time a week or something?
Not really. No. When I first started playing again, I was playing hours and hours, like 6, 7, 8 hours easily, and then I put it down. Do the family stuff, whatever else is required and stuff, and then I'd want to be there, and I'd kind of feel the need. I still do, but it's just a little bit more sporadic at the moment. It's like if I have a day and I'm not making content or doing other stuff, then I love those days where I can just sit and play in front of the amp downstairs. I've got like a pedal board rig downstairs, which I've been working on the last 6 months or so. And I love just plugging into that and just sitting really close to the amp and listening to everything and working on things and getting better. But it kind of just goes up and down. As long as I can get like 10 or 15 minutes of something, at the end of the night, even if I've been mixing all night, I'll try and pick it up for like 10 or 15 minutes. And I'll literally burn out my fingers as fast as I can, and just get something, like some kind of just like an intense workout, basically, of like chromatic kind of stuff, stretches, playing. If I'm just playing, I don't do that sort of stuff. That's like if I have 10 minutes and I want to push as much as I can, and then I'll kind of do that really intense sort of stuff. But otherwise, I don't practice per se. I just like a lot of the licks and stuff I kind of come up with generally lend themselves to like learning something new or force your fingers to do something different. Like I was really keen on like making sure like all my pentatonics are not played with like 1/4, like a lot of my default positions like 2/4. So like 2 and 4 for a lot of people feels really awkward to like play it like that. But now it's like I train my fingers like 2 and 4 feels really cool. Then I've got this other one that can kind of go behind and do other sliding sort of stuff, or slip into more like 3 notes per string, you know. So if you like playing. Just like fingering. I think a lot of that stuff comes from like classical, like just being able to be disciplined about certain fingering and positions. And also I like to sit and try and optimize. If I'll come up with a lick, I'll spend as much time trying to get a little improvement on the fingering and the position shifting to make it as the best possible route through the lick.
With your thumb on the back, it looks like you're. I don't normally notice this on. I haven't looked at your playing normally with how you keep your thumb, but do you normally keep it pretty pressed on the center of the back of the neck, or do you have it wrapped around the top ever?
Never. No. It's very rarely like that. It's like always. It's like there all the time, and sometimes really low. And I'm just looking for that angle to get, you know. So quite commonly it'll be like near the bottom of it. So I'm getting more like a push down angle as opposed to like flat fingers on it. I think when you're doing stuff like stuff like that, it's a weird angle to do like that. But I think if I had my hands up like that, I'd be then really flat fingers, and it'd be really difficult to kind of do that sort of stuff. Yeah, so it's always pretty low. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I think I need to work on, because I've noticed that, like you're saying, my hand ends up flattening out in a strange way, and I'm noticing my thumb's weird. And I heard a long time ago that you're supposed to keep your thumb flat in the back of the neck, right on the opposite side. And I see a lot of people's thumbs wrapping over the top, and I'm like, I don't think that's the proper way to do it. It's probably your classical background, you're saying. I think really nailed that in.
I think so, and I think also for me it's almost like I can imagine wrist pains. I'm like super sensitive on like pains and stuff, and like the moment I feel like the slightest little twinge or ooh, that was weird, I just stop, and then that's it, you know. So fortunately, there's only been one time in my kind of time playing where I've had to stop for a while, you know, and that was actually during the bad for good days, because I went from like 9s to 11s overnight, and then went back to rehearsing 6 hours a day on 11s, and bang, I just caused really hefty pains in the tendons. But apart from that, I'm like, you know, as soon as I feel something that's like, oh, that definitely is the wrong way to do that, I'm like kind of very in tune with that. And the right hand, you know, I've changed picks a lot over the last year or so. Now I'm using the Dunlop Flow 1.0, and they're a great balance. They've got a little bit of flex, because I play like quite hard, and you know, even if I'm like picking like that's like it's probably just sound like a wall of fluff because I'm like holding it at a weird angle, but like it's like quite a lot of picking noise, and you know, with thicker picks that I was using, I was also getting some wrist pains. Dial that back a little bit, and the Flow Dunlop, the 1.0 flows is a really good balance. They're really cool.
I got just a couple more questions for you here, but so your videos, do you do all the editing yourself?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay. I was wondering if like because you seem like you're too busy to be doing this stuff. You're putting up a lot of content. It's great stuff, dude.
Yeah. I shoot them in batches, you know, so it's like I try not to do a video on the day that I'm going to release a video. And I think that kind of prep, it's like with Instagram, you don't want to be like, for me personally, I don't want to be under the pressure of like, oh shit, I need to post today. Okay, let's get the phone out and do something, you know. So I tend to shoot them in like batches and edit them. And you know, fortunately now I've learned like Adobe Premiere like really well, and it doesn't take long to make those kind of videos, you know, where, you know, when I was first started doing them, it took ages. And then like how to sync the audio with my Ableton audio because I want direct audio, and you know, but now it's like really, really like pretty quick, you know, to edit those videos, unless I'm doing like a slow-mo plectrum video like that, like the other day. I don't know if you saw that jokey video.
I saw it. That was awesome.
That took the longest time for any Instagram video. Actually, it was like, even that was like an hour of editing, so not too bad for the amount of like separate little things that went into that. But yeah, I edit them here, and not too bad now.
Really cool stuff, Thomas. Man, I can't thank you enough. You're a huge inspiration to my playing, and I can't wait to get one day be as good as you. I hope I get there one day.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. I appreciate it. No, you're ripping anyway. I was looking on your profile earlier, and no, I think you've got some really cool chops and some really nice gear as well. So I was having a little stalking session.
I appreciate that. Are you going to be at NAMM this year?
Not this year, no. I went last year. First time I kind of came, you know, first NAMM in a long time, and it was a great opportunity to get some bridges kind of built, and you know, kind of do some live shows at the booth and stuff, and make some contacts and put some faces to names and stuff that I've been talking to guys and stuff. But not this year. You know, a lot of the sort of relationships with brands and stuff that I want to establish have now since taken place and stuff. And so I think next year for sure I'll be out there. And I'm going to be playing a bunch of different places, but not this one.
All right,
but
well,
it's pretty fun though.
I was hoping to run into you hopefully there because I'll be there, but maybe next year I'll meet you there.
Oh yeah, no, without doubt. If all goes well, I'm sure for sure the following winter now.
All right,
I'll be.
Dude,
we must hang out. Grab a coffee.
Absolutely, I'm in, man. All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And anything you want anybody to check out while we got them here?
Say again, sorry, you just broke up there a little bit.
You got any links or anything you want people to go check out, or anything you want people
to...
Yeah,
absolutely. The site actually will be kicking off soon, which will just be McRocklin.com. But as you probably know, at McRocklin on Instagram is where I'm posting stories like all the time. I just can't help myself. So love sharing stories. I go live every Sunday as well. So all that happens on Instagram. So at McRocklin. I am on YouTube, which is just simply /McRocklin on YouTube. I'll definitely be putting some more content up there very soon. But for now, for all the sort of daily laughs and shreds and fun stuff, Instagram is kind of where it's all going down.
All right, man. Well, have a great night. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon on the gram.
All right. Cool. Thanks for having me, man. Take care.
Absolutely. You too.
Bye, mate.
See you, Thomas.